Are you thinking about selling your home in Durham Region, but you're worried about all these new for sale signs popping up lately? Well, you're not imagining things. Inventory is rising, and buyers are starting to call the shots. But that doesn't mean you still can't win. In fact, sellers who know how to prepare for this shift in the market are the ones who will still get top dollar for their homes, even when we're shifting towards a buyer's market. Hey, I'm Lucas Bolahood with the Bolahood Group Real Estate Services here at Coldwell Banker RMR Real Estate in Whitby, and I work with homeowners all across Durham Region to help them make smart, confident moves, and whether the market is hot, cold, or somewhere in between. So today I'm going to break down what it means to brace for a more balanced market and even one towards that's shifting to a buyer's market to help you understand what's changing, what you need to know, and how to give yourself the upper hand and give you some more leverage, even though buyers overall have some more power today. So if you're planning to make a move in the next 3, 6, or even 12 months and beyond, this can help you make all the difference in setting you up to either be the home that hangs the sold sign on your front lawn or sits on the market for weeks and maybe months on end. So let's jump into it. Well, first things first. What's going on in Durham lately? Well, for the big chunk of this year, we've been in the 3 months of inventory range, between 3 and 4 months of inventory, and anything less than 4 months of inventory is considered a seller's market. But once we get into the 4 to 6 months of inventory range, where we've been approaching for the last little while, as inventories continue to go up, is we're approaching a balanced market. So in that environment, homes are taking a little bit longer to sell. Often they're conditional offers that are being accepted, and it's the ones that are selling for top dollar are often in the best condition or have the best features to offer the marketplace. And at that point as well, buyers do have a little bit more choice. They've got a little bit more negotiating power and a lot less urgency. So your motivation as a seller is really going to drive whether or not you're the one of 3 homes that's purchased in any given month. Part 2. Well, pricing it right from day one. And pricing in this environment is super, super important. In a hot market, the opposite of where we are today, pricing a little high will still get you offers. But in today's market, overpricing is a killer mistake. And you will spend the future trying to find where that proper price point is. So overpricing, hoping that a buyer will come in under asking and give you an offer that you'd still be willing to negotiate on, isn't how real estate is done today. When we're selling at a rate of 98 to 100% of the list price, and homes are averaging 3 to 4 weeks on market at a time, pricing is very, very crucial. And if you miss the pricing on your initial introduction, because as we're going to talk about in a moment, you only get one first impression, and pricing in that sense is critical. And if you stay overpriced or at a price that is not attracting buyers through the home and not generating offers, then you've maybe missed your mark and you need to make an adjustment quickly. Part 3 here, the first impression, and this is a very critical element because you only get one. So buyers will stop scrolling. They're going to make a decision based on how they view the home and how that compares to the price rather quickly. And to help your home show the best, you want to do things like declutter, give a good deep clean of the house, so when they do walk through, that the home is spotless. We're going to fix any eye-catching condition challenges that might be present in the home, whether that's touching up the drywall and paint and things like that. But we're going to invest in high-end photography, home staging, floor plans, as well as aerial photography and video to go along with that, to showcase the neighborhood and the lifestyle that your home may have to offer. And that's a lot of what is going to drive people's emotional decisions to want to come view your home, is how it makes them feel when they view it. So that first impression is super important because we've all heard the phrase, love at first sight. Part 4. Well, showings and closings. And in a buyer's or even a balanced market, convenience really matters. So making the home available to access and at flexible times really helps a buyer come view your home when it's most convenient for them. If you're on the flip side of that opportunity and you're making it difficult to view the home because there's very restricted times when the home can be viewed by a potential buyer, or maybe there's no open houses being offered and things like that, well, that makes it a little bit more difficult to find the right buyer, because if they can't view it, they're just going to skip your home and go view the next one. So stay flexible. It's far easier to work with a buyer who's certainly able to view your home physically rather than just through the pictures themselves. It gives you far better odds of having a positive experience and at that end receiving an offer. Part 5 here. And this is where you need to be a little bit strategic depending on how soft the market is, or at least how far it has moved in the buyer's favor. And that's where you talk about offering certain buyer incentives. And we've seen this, back in the 90s and the 80s, but there's different ways we can package buyer incentives today. And again, you have to be strategic with this. In some sense, you might offer to help the buyers with some of their closing costs, whether it's moving fees or legal costs of that nature. Maybe there's certain features in the home or chattels, those are things that you could remove from the home that you were planning on taking that the buyer might be interested in. For example, maybe this is an above ground pool. Typically you can remove those if you wanted to, but if it would incentivize the buyer to put an offer on the property that is sufficient to you, then that is a way to do it. Another way in terms of a buyer incentive is being flexible with moving and closing dates. Or, as another one which we've seen, when interest rates start rising and borrowing gets a little bit tight, is offering a vendor take-back mortgage. So that's when the seller provides a mortgage to the buyer, and in that sense as well, under the same umbrella of mortgage offerings, maybe you may offer to pay down the interest rate for the buyer's mortgage. That could be another thing as well to try and incentivize the buyer to purchase your home. Step 6, stay calm, stay cool during negotiations. It can be an emotional process, especially if you feel like you've got a lot on the line. This is your home. You need somewhere to live. You need to be able to finance the purchase or the lifestyle you're hoping to move towards. It can be stressful, don't get me wrong. But offers, they may come in lower than your expected asking price. Buyers may ask you to do more than you were hoping to. It can feel a little bit, I don't want to use the I word, and insulting, but try and disassociate with the emotions, because in the end of the day, just like you as a seller are trying to do the best for you, the buyer is also trying to do the best for themselves. So put the shoe on the other foot and you can understand where they're coming from. But a strong agent will guide you through the process and help you understand how to counter in these situations and how to protect your bottom line and protect your interests overall. Because at the end of the day, two people need to come together to see market value the same way. It takes two to tango. Buyer and seller have to agree on price, they have to agree on terms. So having a seasoned professional to help guide you through how to structure it and how to respond and handle these various objections that come along the way will help you towards the path of getting a successful transaction or completing a successful transaction. So try and balance both of those sides between the buyers and sellers, and keep cool as you go into those things, because it's never personal, it's just business. Part 7, don't skip out on marketing. And while the markets are down, it's very common for us to think, well, how can I save money on this sale? Do I hire a discount brokerage? Do I go with a full service company? In slower markets, it takes more effort and skill to sell a home. And listings aren't going to move unless they're priced accordingly and if it's marketed to a high level. So working with professionals who do professional photography, include aerial or drone footage, is super, super appealing, especially when buyers are shopping and viewing homes online. Using targeted marketing through social media, and all of that content can go into that targeted marketing strategy. And using community groups and other networks that we can associate ourselves with as professionals to help share the word or spread the word about this great opportunity that is your home. Step 8. Think long term. It's not just about this sale. Think about it this way. If you're trying to upsize your home in a down market like 2025 seems to be, this is a great time to upsize, because you're more likely to buy the home today at a suppressed price than you might find from 2 years ago or even 2 years from now. And upsizing or taking on a bigger home in a down market may result in you having, in fact, a smaller mortgage as a result. So when it comes to refinancing that property later, you'll have less mortgage to deal with at the time. And just think about this for a minute, because we all remember what happened during the pandemic. You had to pay top dollar to get into a home in 2021, 2022, 2023. And then it became time to refinance, and wow, did some people get shocked by their new mortgages because they had such a large mortgage on the initial purchase. There's an old lesson that I had learned even before I got into real estate, and that phrase was you make your money on the buy. So buying low, selling high, this now in a down market is a great time to buy. And even if you have a home to sell in this environment, as an upsizer, for example, yes, you might get less for your home today, but having that smaller mortgage on the purchasing side, you'll thank yourself later. That you can trust and take that to the bank. And while the market here in Durham, yes, it's shifting, it is balancing out the sales we borrowed from 2021, 2022, 2023, and those benefits are now being shared with the buyers in 2025. So while it's tempting to want to wait it out for the market to bounce back, you could actually miss out on some really amazing opportunities. So if you prepare well, price it smart, and partner up with the right professionals, you can absolutely sell successfully even when buyers have a little bit more of the control. So it's not waiting about the perfect market. It's about owning the market that you're in. So if you're curious to know a little bit more about how to realistically sell a home today and a strategy that can work for you and your family that aligns with your specific goals, send me a message. No pressure, just straight answers. This is honest talk. So if you found this helpful, hit like, hit subscribe, feel free to drop a comment or just share with some of your friends. What's your biggest worry about selling a home right now? I'd love to hear it. So thanks for watching. Have a great day. And bye for now.